Coach, you're going to start with an opening statement.
Yeah. Again, excited for the week to get to play Buffalo and head down there and finish off the year. Uh, Looking back at the Will game, just a lot of unnecessary penalties and things that we don't typically do that we've got to clean up. I thought the guys came out and played hard. They played aggressive. Obviously, we didn't get the Will back. Disappointed in that. But we got to move on, and we are as a program to play in Buffalo and trying to finish this thing off the right way. We know the season hasn't went the way we want it to go, obviously, but again, all we can control is the next game, the next opportunity. And we've got to get back to work and do what we do to do that. And we're playing a really good Buffalo team that's playing really well right now. They've won their last 3 games, really clicking at every level. And Pete does a great job of knowing him since he's been at Ball State. And he was a guy actually that I talked to last year when I took this job about just how to build something. So he's a great coach, great man, and doing a great job over there. And they've got a wealth of experienced talent that's playing, and you can tell they played together for a while. And he did a good job of keeping them all together. And they're playing at a really high level right now. I think as good as anybody in the MAC. So we got our hands full here, but we're playing for something, and we're playing for our ability to finish the season off the right way and take our seniors onto the offseason the right way and get this team rolling in the right direction. So with that being said, I'll open up for questions.
Rob, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, can you give us an update on Paige, who was hurt in some of the injuries? It's probably too early for Tuesday, but can you just give us an update on him?
Yeah,
obviously he was.
Yeah, Drew will be down for the season. It's really sad for Drew. Honestly, he's a great young man. He's done everything we've asked him to do, from dropping his weight and getting bigger, faster, stronger. And he's just been plagued with injuries all year long. He had one he was battling with that kept him out for 5 or 6 weeks, and he came back and looked really good in practice, and then he goes down with his ankle, and I thought he was playing a solid game. So again, he's down for the rest of the year, and he'll have surgery and have to recover from that. And then we've obviously lost some linebackers are probably the big thing you're seeing. And I appreciate Caleb John's effort of trying to go out there and battle, but he's limited. And Nyland Brown went for 2 series, and Jaden Studio didn't play as well. So we were just battling injuries, and it's been all year long. And I never gonna make excuses. We've got a next guy up's got to be our mentality. We got to step in and play. But we've been plagued with injuries a lot this year, more than normal, more than most schools. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that played a factor into our success this year. I built this thing off of high school kids. I don't regret that. We got a really good high school class we're signing next year. I think that was our best chance to build something long term, and I still believe that. But when that happens, when you lose guys to injury, and I've said this at the beginning of the year, if we lose guys to injury, it's going to be young guys filling in for them. And those guys are getting great experience for the future, but they're going to make rookie mistakes, and we're having that happen from time to time. So it is what it is, but we'll respond to get the next guy up.
Couple examples of that, and I just wanted your thoughts on, Maddox, a guy that you moved from the offensive line to the D line to fill a hole, and a guy like CJ Young, who, if I remember right at the beginning of the year, I'm not even sure he was on the depth chart at safety, and now you've got him at linebacker. Can you just kind of talk about those guys of examples of what you've asked people to do?
Yeah, I mean, just great teammates is what I like to call that. Mason Maddox came in, did all the fall camp on the defensive line. We had some injuries at the O-line, and he had, played O-line a little bit in his career, so we moved him over to O-line, taught him a lot, our offense basically in a week and a half, and then he goes out there and he starts, I think, against Penn State, So, it's been that back and forth. Then we get some more injuries at D-line, get a couple bodies back on O-line, so we move him back to D-line. He starts immediately at D-line. And he's doing his best to help the team out in ways we need him, and I appreciate him so much and his dedication to our football team. But it hasn't been fair to him, to be honest with you. He hasn't been able to lock in on a position and really master that position. And then same thing with CJ Young, a young man who was another just great teammate. He was a guy who was on our special teams most of the year. And then we had some injuries, and he was, doing a good job being a backup safety. And we were looking for bodies to move to linebacker. And again, another team player who just stepped in and said, I'll help the team. I'll do it. And I thought as the game went on, I thought he started to play pretty solid in the game. But there's still things that when you see those pieces out there as an opponent, you're going to try to mix things up, fool their eyes, get them looking somewhere else, and just take advantage of the lack of repetition. And that's what the school down the road did. And, it is what it is. But I thought CJ came out and responded at a high level. And I'm excited about his future. And I think he's going to help us someday here for sure.
Looking at Buffalo, 7-4 overall, 5-2 in the league. Are you surprised that Coach Lembo was able to do that in his first year and get them turned around after just a 3-win, uh, you know, season last year?
I'm not surprised. I think they've got a lot of resources there that can help with transfer portal and NIL space. I think they've got a really good resources and facilities. And I think that they were building something there and people could see it on tape coming. And I think the guys made a decision to stick together and finish it out. And I think that's why they're having success. They've got a really good roster of players who are really good. And Pete's a phenomenal leader, man. And I think he's doing a great job of bringing it together for him and building something there that's pretty good. I bet you he'd say they're probably further along than he thought they would be. But sometimes it happens that way. And he's done a great job with it. And that's a credit to him and his leadership.
My last couple are kind of season-ending ones, Coach. If you could, do you feel that this team has made some progress this year? If so, where do you feel that that has been?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I do, and people can't see that, and people are going to judge us on the record, which is rightfully so. I don't get mad about that, and that is what it is. But I saw a lot of young guys gain a wealth of experience. When you talk about locker room and team connectivity, I saw a ton of that. I saw a ton of buy-in as the year went on. Guys didn't quit on each other, which are positive things as you move forward and starting to really build this thing. I understand that there's some talent issues that might be impacting us a little bit. And I wouldn't even say talent as much as experience issues that are coming into effect when you're having what I call a youth movement. But I'm excited for the future. I'm excited about this football program and this thing. We were never in it for the quick fix, and I don't think you can ask with how many players we had leave. I don't think you can ask for us to have this thing figured out in this amount of time. It's going to take time. And I told our coaches to stay true to the process. I can see the work they're doing with our young men, and then also with our recruiting. I think that speaks for itself. And we're building something. And it's never pretty at the beginning. And I get that. And people are going to say, well, this is say year 2. It's still the beginning. Years 3 and 4, there's got to be something that's visual that you can see. I get it. But we are comfortable in the process and the connectivity and the youth that is showing its ability to play at this level. We got to just have a great offseason of getting these guys bigger, faster, stronger, get a more understanding the offense and defense, and then come back out next year after this game, obviously, and really come out and swing next year. And I believe we will.
My last two for you, Coach, and maybe you just answered some of that, but what is going to be your message to the team after the season and your message to the fan base?
Yeah, I think I'll start with the team because that's really what I'm worried about is the team. The biggest message is, we talk about grit and a lot of people throw it out there as, oh, it's just this saying, it's enough of the sayings, enough of that. But no, it's not. It's actually built in for this, and it's built in for the adversity that you're going to face. And we faced a lot of adversity this year. There's a lot of guys that we expected to play massive roles in this season, like Devin, like OB, like Gavin Garcia, that went down. You can sit around and mope in the pity and feel sorry for yourself, or you can get back to work and respond with creativity and positivity, being better, not bitter, and finding a way to make you a better version of yourself. And that's going to be my message to them. We've got to get obsessed with the process. And I remember Matt Campbell talking about that a long time ago, being obsessed with the process. You got to get obsessed with how you can make yourself the best. And then at some point, the process will love you back. It'll love you back. It'll give you it'll let you see dividends for the work you put into it. And that's going to be our message this offseason with those guys. For the fan base, I get the frustration. I get the anger. You love this place. You love this school. You want to see it have success. My message to them is that it's being built for long term. This isn't a place that has the resources to go in the portal and buy 40 players, 30 players to make this thing be fixed all of a sudden. So we made the decision to go and get really talented high school kids, and that's what we're doing. And we're bringing in classes that are really highly ranked with really good players that we've got to develop. And we need time. And then that's just the reality of it. And I think you will, maybe 24 months from now, be really impressed with the product that you see as we compete for a conference championship. But it's not because of a lack of work and lack of plan. There is a plan there. and we got to stick to the plan. And that's just is what it is. And when you're building it with high school players, they need time, and that's reality. And this will be our third class coming in, a very talented class. You saw a lot of the talent. I mean, you can see the talent that's playing on the field. That's freshmen. Those guys will be better next year, and we're going to get back a lot of players that have played that were hurt this year that'll be better next year, and we'll build this thing the right way.
Thank you, Coach.
I'm going to go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, just wanted to ask, obviously going into Buffalo, but afterwards you had mentioned the mentality recruiting high school kids and you're not able to get some dudes in the transfer portal. How much look is there going to be into the portal coming into this offseason, and how do you try and potentially retain some of those guys that had really successful seasons that might get some looks from some bigger schools, because that is so prevalent in the college game?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. I think the first thing is retention, right? You've got to retain your best players. And some of the guys I've already had conversations with, I got a good pulse on where they're at. So I do think we'll retain some pretty good players. And some of them it's college football at a high level. You're going to lose some guys. We want to retain, the guys that we think could really help us in the future. And there's a lot of young guys that only played 4 games that are going to be big parts of our future. And, there's probably not enough tape out there quite yet, or you'd be taking a little bit of a risk right now with 2,000 guys in the portal on betting on them quite yet. But we're going to do a good job retaining our roster. I truly believe that. And we will utilize the portal. I want to make that clear. It's not like we're not utilizing the portal, don't believe in the portal. I just think the core base of your roster has to be from guys you brought in and you developed from the ground up. So again, we've identified a couple areas that we need to go get some guys out of the portal. And there's about 8 or 9 guys I think that are really going to be important that we get talented kids out of the portal at these 8 or 9 spots that we're talking about. And then with that, you just got to develop your roster with them, So the injuries suck when you talk about this year, but it also allowed me to have conversations with guys about potentially coming back and what next year looks like as well. So it's a good balance. But like I said before, there's a plan in place, and we're going to stick to our plan, and then we're going to adapt accordingly as things happen. Are we expecting to lose a couple guys? Sure. Every coach in America is. And we understand that. We'll support them with any decision they make. Because they've given everything they can to this place. And then we'll look to replace them as they leave with talented players and depth behind them.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, Coach, after Buffalo and all that, what is your process with your coaching staff in terms of going through exit meetings with players? How quickly do you do that? And just how you try and approach that? I know every coach is different.
Yeah, no, I've always kept my mind on the week, be your feet, all right, where the week we are playing and doing all that stuff. But obviously you look ahead to the plan and process. And I'm not a knee-jerk guy. I'm not going to have a knee-jerk reaction and just fire guys and get rid of players and all that stuff. I'm going to go back and look at it over the break, the Thanksgiving break, and really dive into every position, every area of our program. Some of this stuff I think was out of the coach's hands with the lack thereof experienced players. But I'll evaluate everything. We'll come back after the game, have a team meeting on Wednesday, which I'll outline what the offseason is going to look like. And then I'll start really diving in from Wednesday all the way till Sunday into our program. And I've got a process that I have in place. And then the next week after that, I'll start having exit meetings with the players and the coaches and just talk about where the room is or where that player is, what's the plan moving forward with that room as a coach and that player, and then what my vision is for that coach player moving forward in our program. So there'll be extensive conversations over the next week. Obviously, when you have a year like we've had, you got to look at everything, starting with yourself as the leader of the program and what you're doing to help the program move in the right direction. And with that, you got to look at it, but then you also got to trust your process that you have in place. And I knew this year was going to be rocky. I knew it was going to be rough. And I knew that we couldn't have a lot of injuries just because of lack of depth behind it. But there's a balance in between that and, what's actually going on and information that you're getting from data, from statistics and other stuff as well, which I'll study all that stuff really on the bus ride home from the game. I'll start diving into that. And I got a really good DFO and who's already in the DPP, who's already getting information for me to look at and study to get this thing moved in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And last question I have for you, Coach. Obviously, Buffalo knows for their seniors, it's not going to be their last game. They're going to have a bowl game the plan for your seniors? Obviously, for some of them, it could be the last time they put on the pads. For some of them, not so much. But what does it mean to Ibaka, a Floria, and some of those two that are likely going to have some opportunities after college as well? And you think just the extra effort and motivation they're going to have, knowing that this is the last time they're putting on the Kent State uniform.
Yeah, well, Baca, I don't think this is the last time he's putting on the Kent State uniform, but Floria for sure. Floria and Cam and Caleb and Harm, like I meet with them actually right after this actually because they're captains, but their dedication to this program has been unbelievable. It was always bigger to them than a coach, than a player. They are dedicated to Kent State University, and they made a choice to come back here. When I gave everybody the option to leave last year, when I told them we were going to start building this thing off the all-in model to Kent Grit, and those guys all came back, and they were special in my heart, big time, because they've never wavered. Their leadership hasn't changed in the locker room. They haven't questioned all of a sudden what we're doing. They've demanded more out of themselves and our football team. And I hate the way the year went for them more than anything, because I do believe we're going to flip this and get moving in the right direction. I think this is really on par to a lot of head coaches in our league and the success rate that they've had their first 2 years. But for those guys, I wish I could get them off here in a better state. But we're going to go fight for them for this last game. I'm sure there's going to be emotion there, as we do the night before. We'll do some dedications to our seniors and send them off the right way in the team hotel. But I'm so proud of those young men, and I know they're going to be successful in life from all the stuff they've done here and what they've learned through this process.
Mm-hmm. And Luke, obviously getting the invitation to the Hula Bowl, coach, what does that mean for him and just his prospects moving forward as he tries to go pro?
Yeah, I mean, Luke's got a good shot. I mean, the Hula Bowl is where it starts. I think people are going to see his ability there, and then he's going to get invited to more. I've been around a long time. I've seen NFL talent. I think he definitely is NFL talent. I think I've talked to a lot of scouts, a lot of coaches around the league. They have high interest in Luke. Luke's got to just go and perform. But I have no doubt that he's going to have a career after Kent State in football, and I know he's going to make the most out of it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Tom, anything?
Coach, on the other night, I walked in with one of your potential recruits, and I gave him my best elevator pitch on the way into the stadium. When you have the opportunity to meet with the kids, what do you tell them about the future of Kent State?
Well, I think they can see it. I told them that I was going to, before we even got into this year, I made it very clear to the recruiting class that this is a youth movement. We're doing something that's different. We're going to build it with guys like you. When people are overlooking you right now, we're going to build it with you and stay that course with high school and know that, got years on my contract, that we're going to allow this team to move from the ground up. And they're seeing it. They're seeing the Nyland Brown play. They're seeing the Jaden Studios, the Deshaun Martins, the Wayne Harrises, the JJ Elijah. They're seeing all these freshmen play. So there's like, okay, this guy is really serious when he says this. And they see opportunity. They see opportunity. And like anything, like it's great to be a part of something that's been a tradition for forever. It's great to go do that at certain places, but it's also really neat to build your own. And I think that's what entices this recruiting class, and this is a special recruiting class, but this ability to create your own vision here. And, we're bottoming out, sure, to build it back up. And they can see that. They can see the things that I've said that I'm actually doing. I've been consistent with my message to them. The coaches have too. We built relationships that are deeper than just, on the surface. And they're bought into a vision and a plan, and they see the plan moving in the right direction. And it might not be on the X's and O's, but they see the young guys getting better, and we point it out to them every week when we talk to them, and they see us coming and supporting them and showing them a clear vision of how they fit this whole thing. And they bought it, and they believe in it. And I think that's where recruiting starts, is giving them a plan of investment into them, and then making sure you stick true to your word. And that's what we've been doing.
Coach, I got to watch Buffalo last night on Little Action there. They look like they're hitting on all 8 cylinders offensively. This might be maybe one of the best running quarterbacks in the MAC right now. How do you defend kind of that two-headed running attack? And the running game has been so difficult for us the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. There's no doubt about it. I think this is, Western Michigan was a really good running football team as well. Obviously, we struggled in the interior D line. We're getting bodies in there, and then now a linebacker, which obviously leaves you, susceptible to the run game, which is what it is. So I think the biggest thing is simplifying the plan, which I told Coach Morgan, man, he's like an angel, because as a defensive coordinator, when you're moving this many pieces around, you can't have a big defense. You got to really bring it in so guys can be sharp alignment assignment, and he's not been able to disguise much. Our mix-up coverages, our mix-up blitzes, it's been really simplistic, which now lets the offense know exactly what you're doing. And every defense has a hole in it. You try to hide it and disguise it as the best you can. And he hasn't been able to do that. But I think the biggest thing with this, knowing they're a really good run team, is being simple. And I know that's where his mind is right now. It's being very simple so we can play gap sound. It might stress our corners a little bit more with some of the stuff we do to do that. But we got to stop the run first and force them to beat us with the pass game. And it is what it is. They're a very talented offense with good players everywhere around. The quarterback is phenomenal. He can run, he can throw. I think the biggest misconception is he's a runner. He has much ability to throw the ball as well and put it where it needs to go. And we just got to play our best game and worry about ourselves and be at our best come kickoff on defense.
One last one for me, Coach. With some of the injuries and maybe trying to hold on to some red shirts for some guys, we got a lot of different receivers getting on the field. Anybody jumping off saying that we've got to look at the last couple of weeks, some of these young guys that are really saying they're taking advantage of that time on the field for you?
Yeah, we pulled J.J. Etheridge's red shirt early, and he's played most of the year. I think this next week's a big week for him to show what he can do. I think Wayne Harris played his last one of his 4 against the school down the road, and he showed you his promise too. He had a couple of nice catches there and plays extremely hard and really good in space. So I think that, getting some of these young guys some experience, but also making sure we don't put anybody in for their 5th game if they're on that bubble. Not there. You might see some more of Aiden Harris and Kay Wolford this game, as they both have 1 game left as well in the running back room. But, I think we've done a really good job as coaches of manipulating the 4-game rule and getting guys in there, but not making sure we don't pull their red shirt either, and giving them some useful experiences they can take into the offseason. So when they come up next year and they have to really big parts of our pieces, that they've got the experience they need.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Anything else, guys? Coach, you're good to close it up.
Yeah. I'm going to finish with, just because I know it's out there. There's an article about whatever, me in a legal situation with Hometown Bank. I'm just going to start by saying this is Hometown Bank's a phenomenal bank with phenomenal people. And this is my personal experience. I don't think the university's doing much with them right now, but my personal experience is they're phenomenal people, phenomenal bank. We did our home loan with those guys, and they've been exceptional in every single way. There is a lawsuit out there with us and them. It's something that is, when we got here as a family, we had a flood in our house, and the flood forced my wife to move to Wyoming for a little bit with that happening. And whatever happened got lost in communication. Something got lost in communication. And then something happened with that. And they identified it with us, told us about it. We were handling it swiftly. But I just want to make sure that that's understood. It's nothing more than that. I know when you're losing, people try to make stuff more than what it is. But it's something that's being handled between us and Hometown Bank. And it's nothing more than that, than really a misunderstanding. And they've been great. Like I said, we are so excited to be working with them with our home loan and everything there. And like I said, it's getting handled swiftly. So I'm not going to address it any more than that. But we are handling it. And we have the most integrity. We have a ton of integrity as a family. And we know Hometown Bank has the same. And it's been a great communication of trying to solve the issue there. So I'll leave it at that. And if anything else pops up, I'm not going to address it again. But I appreciate all the support out there, and got a lot of messages during all that time. And I appreciate it from different players, parents, different players, supporters. And we're going to keep building this thing in the right way and do it our way. And that's what it's about, making sure the kids are taken care of and they're developing under the Ken Grit culture. And that's what we're going to do. So with that being said, go Flashes, Ken Grit. Thanks.